It is Indiana in the morning. We're glad you're with us today on this Wednesday morning. Beautiful day today, on the way to 88 warm degrees. I don't think anybody's complaining about that either, are they?
Oh, I hope not. I'm not complaining.
Indiana County District Attorney Bob Manzi is in the studio with us this morning, and as soon as Mr. Computer gets rolling here, he's going to take his time. I guess we'll just have to go without him. The district attorney joins us once a month, and Mr. Manzi is here. Our visit presented by Marcus & Mack, voted best law firm and best personal injury lawyer 3 years in a row on the Best of Indiana County contest. Visit them online at marcusandmack.com. I was joking, but really didn't need to be, that we would just might spend this whole segment talking Indiana High baseball, if that's okay by you.
Oh, we can talk baseball all day. I can just get my work done tonight.
Hasn't that been fun, though?
It's been fantastic. For anybody following Indiana baseball, I mean, these kids love baseball so much that they don't only play 7 innings. They play 9, 10, 12 innings. And I told them, I said, you're allowed to win in 7.
But as long as the win.
As long as it's a win. And
column comes up.
You know, just watching this team, I mean, obviously I'm super proud of my son Charlie and everything he's done. But, you know, this entire team, you know, the families are out in the fields watching them play, and we've all watched these kids grow up together since T-ball, and each and every kid on this team is contributing in a meaningful way for these wins. This isn't a one-person win whatsoever. If anybody wants to see the definition of a team win, you know, you come and watch this team. We're bunting runners forward. We're making great plays in the defense, backing up our pitchers. Our pitchers are throwing lights out. I mean, it is truly a team win. Next man up. It's so much fun to watch them.
Yeah, and it speaks really to the whole idea of what a community is able to come together to do in support of its young people, which allows us the opportunity now to spin our conversation this morning into more serious matters of life. And certainly crime and punishment are a part of it, but a good quality life is what we talk about as well when we talk about what you do in your office and the entire law enforcement community. It's really an insurance business, isn't it?
It's really, yeah. I mean, our business is obviously we're prosecuting criminals. We're taking people who made bad decisions and we're holding them accountable for what they've done. And I think a big part of what we do, or at least what my office wants to do, is prevention. See, I don't want to have to prosecute people for crime. I want to educate people and give them a heads up and help them with the tools to make the decisions so that they don't commit a crime, because everybody wins when that crime is not committed, when that person maybe had one too many drinks and gets a ride home from somebody who's sober, or, you know, when they aren't texting and driving down the street. When those things are happening, everybody wins.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about that, because a part of what you do is you are constantly visiting social centers, schools, getting people on both ends of the age spectrum, whatever it might be, to help them learn to protect themselves from people who mean to do them harm.
Oh, absolutely. We go to all the senior centers, the Elder Abuse Task Force. We go to senior centers throughout the year. We're talking about fraud. We're talking about scams. We're trying to keep that concept in the front of everyone's mind so that they can protect themselves. And when you get to the kids, you know, I try to get around to all the schools, as many as will have me. And, you know, I met with grades 5 through 12 this year. And I've gone over to the university to talk to the young adults in college. And the biggest thing that we're talking about is just making good decisions. You know, being realistic in what the criminal justice system does. I always tell the children, especially when I'm visiting them, I'm not there to scare you. You can Google what I'm telling you. This is real, because I want to give them valuable information to help them. And really a lot of it is, you know, stuff inside the criminal justice system or even outside. You know, when they're on their video game systems, when they're on social media, I talk about don't do things that are going to embarrass you 4 years from now. Because if you look at yourself 4 years ago, especially when you're in high school, middle school, you're just a whole different person. You're going to be a different person in 4 years and 8 years. So we talk about picking good user ID numbers that aren't, you know, trying to insinuate you're a drug user or something else. Just trying to, you know, keeping a pad of all your usernames and passwords so when you're finished with that game, you can just erase your account so it's not there in the future and people can't use it against you. But really trying to do that outreach of saying, here's where we're at with the law, here's where we're at with the criminal justice system. And most people don't want to, or most people aren't going to commit crime. Most people don't want to. So we just want to really help them with the tools to do that. You know, one of the big things, I'm sure we'll talk about it, is Paul Miller's law prohibiting the use of mobile phones in the cars now.
That's a really big thing. We were talking about it with Chief Shaw yesterday, and people might have misconceptions about how the law will be applied. I'm not even sure that every police agency knows how they're going to approach it in the rollout of it. But it takes effect tomorrow, and it's a pretty strict law.
It's a very strict law. So you just can't touch your mobile device while you're driving, and I think that's going to be difficult for a lot of us. You get so used to calling people, or you have your music streaming through your car. Some people who are text messaging still, which I hope we get to an end of that. But not even at a red light. Not even if you pull up to a red light and you're stopped, you still can't pick up your mobile device. It has to go through the Bluetooth in your car. And if you don't have Bluetooth in your car, then you need to pull off to the side of the road to use your mobile device. That's going to be a change for a lot of folks. Now, within this first year, there's only warnings that are going to be issued. So there's not going to be tickets. However, and I think people need to understand the secondary effect of this that they may not be thinking, is you might only get a warning for using your phone at a red light or using your phone while you're driving. But that means the police can pull you over. And I think what we're going to see is more people getting pulled over for that, and the police finding more DUI drivers, more people with not wearing their seatbelt, more people not doing things that they shouldn't be doing. So people might say, well, it's only a warning. I don't really care. One, we should be practicing that. The reason it's a year of just warnings, it's a practice to get used to that, because then it is a ticket. But also that means the police are able to pull you over for it. And people might not like that. You're running late for work. You're running late to pick up your kid. You're running late for a baseball game, whatever that is. Or you've made a bad decision and you had too much to drink. Well, you get pulled over, whatever they find, they're able to use. So,
And there are insurance ramifications as well. That could be very, very big.
I believe that's going to hurt your insurance. I think you're going to see insurance rates skyrocket for people who continue to use their phone while they're driving. So it is going to be a change, and I think the legislature, it seems, made the decision to really roll this out over a long period of time to help people with that change. I always fear it's kind of like that high school term paper. We all wait to the last moment to do it, but it is something that really I hope people are mindful. Being a runner, I run on the roads a lot, and I'll tell you, it shocks me no more when I see drivers with their phones in their hands looking down at them. I would say I probably see more drivers not holding their phone, or less drivers not holding their phone. So we really need to get used to that. It's just safer for everybody involved.
I want to get back for a second to some of the conversations you've had with young folks, particularly you mentioned, as young as fifth grade. A lot of those children are being exposed to the internet and to the people on the internet at a much, much younger age than maybe we would have even conceived of 10 or 15 years ago. And I know that your job as a district attorney has changed over the course of the last 10 years, but that probably is one of the biggest changes, is the fact that everybody is online. And that means that not only are the good folks there, but the bad folks are there as well. And the ability to recognize a dangerous situation is really important for young folks, because frequently they're going to be on their own when they're online.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about taking a child and dropping them off at a music concert in fifth grade by themselves, and all of the people around that. That's the internet. That's what you've done. And children are exposed to a lot of good use of technology. They can stay at home and play video games and talk with their friends. They can FaceTime phone calls with family members that are far away, maybe see people more than they would. But there's a lot of dangers out there, and we're asking really young individuals to recognize dangers that sometimes adults don't recognize. You certainly get into being exposed to some of that just personality where it's not really a crime, but people are just rude or disrespectful, and they're seeing that. But the criminal actions, we're asking 10, 11, 12-year-old kids to really go against adults who are used to grooming young children.
Yeah.
And to understand the psychology of what they're doing. It's incredibly difficult. So that's why I always urge parents. I mean, I tell parents very openly, I go through my kids' phones all the time. I say, hand me the phone. I go through it. I've learned the technology to go through it. I've told their friends I'm going through their phones, my children's phones. So their friends know not to do knucklehead stuff with my kids' phones. And I urge parents to do that. And everyone has a different position on privacy, on what they want to do, and how much leeway they want to give their children. And everyone's child is different, but I certainly urge, especially at a very young age, you want to constantly see what's going on, because it does not take long for a perpetrator to start grooming a child and scaring them through the release of photos that don't really exist, but through AI they can create
they can make things
realistic photos of their children in compromising positions, and they say, hey man, if you don't do X, Y, or Z, I'm releasing this and you're getting in a lot of trouble. That can scare a child.
Yeah.
And I mean, that would scare me. So we certainly want to make sure we're giving them that support. And I think when I give that example of, would you take your 5th grade child to a summer concert and just leave them in the middle of the concert for 8 hours, people said, absolutely, you're out of your mind.
Yeah. That's
the internet.
Yeah.
We're leaving them on the internet there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And in the summertime, the problem becomes magnified by the fact that they're not under the supervision of a teacher for 8 hours a day. For a lot of these kids, mom and dad both have jobs. They're at home by themselves, and even at that young age, they're vulnerable.
Yeah, they're incredibly vulnerable, and again, it can happen very fast. I always urge parents, if you have questions, call my office. We'll chat. You can call your local police department or your state police department. They have resources to help you with, because it is a difficult question to answer. Especially with how much the internet and social media is being used. It is a very difficult thing, but it is very important. It is very much worth everyone's time to look at.
Bit of a summertime warning for kids who are off school now, and that applies as well to the old-fashioned type of thing that we always used to warn kids about. The stranger in a car along the street. Have a buddy with you. That's the best thing, is to have somebody with you.
Have a friend with you. Keep your wits about you. Check in. Have constant check-in times with people who are able to know where you're at, know where your kids are going, know where they've been. Find that avenue that really works with you and your family. You don't have to be with them 24/7. They're kids. They got to learn to get out there and live in the world. But we're going to have some safeguards there in place to make sure we learn. And I think talking to them about afterwards, just taking that time to talk with the kids. They pick up so much. They experience so much. They view so much. Learning from them and having those very candid conversations. I tell parents all the time, this idea that your child doesn't really know what's going on in the world until they're in 11th, 12th grade, maybe college, that's gone.
Yeah.
The vast majority of kids are first exposed to drugs in middle school, are first exposed to more adult content in middle school. So when you're really talking 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade, they're very exposed to things that we might not have been when we were younger.
Very much so. Good conversation with the Indiana County District Attorney today, Bob Manzi. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. You have a great day.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com. Just about 26 minutes after 8 o'clock. Boomer Sports coming up. Then Matt is back with us from the WCCS newsroom. Lisa Spencer, Indiana County's Department of Human Services, joining us in our next half hour. We talk a little Family Nature Palooza. That is on the way. Here's Boomer.